For more than a decade, FTI has strived to become the leader in the aftermarket performance transmission and converter industry. We've joined forces with McLeod driveline components under the leadership of Top Fuel Funny Car pilot Paul Lee, and now have a larger distribution network, more resources, and more power. Come see us in the pits and ask how you can join the FTI family. It's not cheating, it is the competitive edge.
The number one source of friction in your engine is not what you think. Piston rings rubbing against the cylinder walls generate more friction than any other part of the engine. More friction and temperature means more wear and less horsepower. Fortunately, the team at Total Seal knows how to reduce friction and wear through innovative piston ring design. If it takes a piston, Total Seal can build a better ring.
This is WFO Radio.
Hey, everybody, welcome back. WFO Radio is on the air. That's right, midweek edition. And we're going to do like what is a yearly tradition here on WFO going back many, many years. Ron Capps going to give us his preseason take as we get ready for the Mission Foods Drag Racing Series season, the first one ever, the inaugural Mission Foods Drag Racing Series season. We got Ron all queued up. He's been very busy. He's been in Atlantic City. He's been doing indoor drag races. He's been hiding tickets on Mobil 1 cans and auto parts stores. We're going to find out all about that. Positive and fun. Team Ron Capps Twitter account, an adrenaline-filled conversation. I don't know if I can live up to the hype, but we'll try really hard. Before we do that, though, I want to thank the people who make it possible for me to go WFO each day and check out these champion race car drivers like CWT Industries. Check out their website. This is balancing machines for engine shops, but not just racing engines, everything like giant earth movers, caterpillars, diesers, a marine. If it rotates, it can be balanced. And CWT Industries should be your choice. Not only do they make great machines, but they're very efficient. They save you time and money, and they're almost fully automated. Pretty amazing. CWT Industries. Check it out. Also, the folks at Foggit, Foggit, Foggit.com, available at Summit now. Definitely order on Summit, available on Amazon.com, and available at Foggit.com. It's a fogging oil that protects the inside of your cylinder finish, the high performance inside of your cylinders that form that ring seal. But it also works on countless other things. So check out Foggit, order a can, and put it to use, Foggit.com. Bernie Speed Shop, BURNYZZ.com. Saw Josh Hart yesterday putting out the clarion call, like be a part of the car show before the Gator Nationals. Wednesday night before the Gator Nationals, the Fan Fest is happening at Bernie's. 100,000 square feet of cars and inventory, plus a car show, plus live music. It's going to be amazing. I was there last year, and honestly, I had no idea what to expect. And I walked away thinking, this is incredible. Next year is going to be over the top. So be a part of it. Make a plan to go to Bernie's Wednesday before the Gator Nationals. We're going to have ourselves a good old time. Don't forget the folks at Total Seal Piston Rings, the leader in ring seal technology. Of course, Hartford and the team got Getrix on board back for 2024. Most races, very exciting. And Phillips-Connect, smart trailer technology. Connected sensors, keep your program safe over the roads. Are the brake lights working? Is the brake pressure there? Do you have a tire going down? All of these things, not just your vehicle, but your fleet of vehicles. And if you'd like a personalized introduction, not just for Phillips Connect, but for any of our sponsors, email me, Joe at WFOradio.com, and I will put you together. Later on in the show, we'll tell you about Sam Tech. We'll tell you about Frank Hawley. We'll tell you about Marvin Rodax, coffeeandgrills.com. But right now, like, I wish I could show you guys what I see right now. What are you doing? You're relocating? Why are you relocating?
That's funny. It was like a countdown. I got the sun coming in here weird, and it just happened to be this time of the day that right when you're getting ready to talk, it was like right in my eyes. So
I get it. Well, this is the universal stretch it out. Like, I need more time, and I would have known. What's up, Caps? How are you?
Can you hear me okay?
You sound great. Look great.
Good.
Sound great. Got a new location for 2024 for your video interviews. It's great.
Well, not new. I've been here. Just I was like, I got to change it up a little bit. I've got the office with all the Wallies, which is awesome to have behind me. But I thought I'd change it up. We got the March meet coming up.
Yes.
Could have run the fuel altered there. Yeah, just some cool stuff. My wife.
I got the poster, man. I got the poster for when you were doing it. Like Dragster Jeff sent me these. Yeah. I got March Meet gear here in the WFO studio. I'm the only East Coaster who's been able to score it.
Things are going to gear up fast here for us. And we got obviously the Superstar Showdown coming up, then March Meet, and then jump on a plane the next morning from the March Meet and head out to Gainesville and test that week. And then the race that weekend. We got media all week as well. So for the racers, yeah, it's going to get nuts.
So much to talk about, right? But I do want to spend a little bit of time talking about what was a very sad week for drag racing when we lost Don Schumacher and Roland Leong within what I believe was 7 days of one another. And in the moment, I thought about you because both of those men, while beloved in the drag racing community, Don could be tough and all, but still there was no denying this guy was a beloved character for all he did for so many people. And they were both directly connected to you and your career. And you spent so much time with both of them. I thought about you. I thought, man, Caps, Roland and Don in a week. And I knew, I don't want to make you sad or anything, but I definitely wanted to talk about it a little bit with you.
Yeah. The Don Schumacher thing. Yeah, it happened so fast. We knew he was fighting an illness, and the dude was strong, man. We're keeping updated with his wife and then Megan, his daughter, and things looked good. And he went back home, I guess, and just took a quick turn, as we all know that can happen. And it was very unexpected. Just strange because of what obviously he's done in the sport. It's still hard to believe. And yeah, there's a lot of things woven, like you said, so many things with all of us that have kind of branched off, getting to drive for the Snake for 10 years and then going and moving over and going to Don Schumacher's in 2005, I think it was. And back then, they had 7 or so teams over there when I went there, and Selzy's is kind of the one that brought me over. And then at one point, I think he had 9 teams. They had 4 funny cars, 4 top fuel dragsters. He had pro stock bike at one point. But just to watch that whole place grow and watch the championship banners that go up on the shop. And, there's 6 or 7 of us that lease a spot in the old DSR building. So that is where our shop is. And it's great. And also, if you watch, I think Courtney Enders is going to do a piece we shot around PRI where they came to the shop and kind of showed them around. But I don't think a lot of fans realize a lot of us racers have spots there, and people I race against actually have spots there near us in the DSR shop. So, but we have a fab shop that does our chassis, a blower dyno, which a lot of other teams use, clutch dyno, which a lot of other teams use. And so he's definitely left his mark, and it's still hard to believe. And of course, Roland Leong was one of my first, guys that really, I had a first. People forget we had the Copenhagen Funny Car, with Don Perdome. We had all these huge sponsors. Got announced as the driver. Showed up at Pomona that first year at the Winter Nationals, and we didn't qualify. And I'm not sure a lot of fans remember that, but that was like a rude awakening. Like, you just can't show up and expect to get in a show with a big name, an owner and sponsor. And we went 4 or 5 races, I think. And then Snake brought in his old friend Roland to kind of right the ship a little bit. And he put a reset on me as a driver because I was not believing in myself at that point. We had all the best equipment. We had everything we needed. And the crew, looking back at the team that I had, that first Copenhagen car, they're all crew chiefs now, big name crew chiefs. And they're all crew members under Roland at that time. And so it's a lot of fun to look back at that. But he taught me so much. And we're doing a great service celebration of life on the Thursday night prior to Pomona. And it's going to be down at the Lions Museum, which, by the way, I know NHRA's museum is fantastic. It's great. But if any race fan is ever going to attend Pomona and you don't live in the area, you got to check this place out. Check their Facebook page, but it's a Lions Drag Racing Museum. And it is uncanny of how cool the old school stuff that we all read about as kids is all set up at this place. So we'll do that Thursday night, and it'll be a lot of fun.
Hawaiian shirts recommended. Kenny Youngblood did the Lions paint there, and unbelievable. I haven't been there. I hope I can make it over there, and it's amazing. Lonnie says this year you got to do like a half Stardust, half Hawaiian body on your car now that you've broken the ice with the snakeskin last year.
That would be cool.
That would be cool. That would be cool.
Hmm.
So there was a video, right? They've been doing these top fives, Winter National moments, and you and Wilkerson, crazy pedal fest, just wild. But was that Guido on the team, the Copenhagen team?
No, it was Guido behind Tony Petragon's car because Tony was with Guido was with John Force Racing when we first met. He was just a crew guy. I think he did a cylinder head. But it's funny. I didn't even know of all the footage I've seen before until the other day. I looked, and as Tony's staging the car, you see Guido walk around behind it. And they were a 2-car team, obviously, with Force and Tony. And I think we beat Force earlier in the day as well. Like, that was a weird, long, unbelievable day for us. And to get the double up, to see Dale Armstrong on Larry Dixon's car, my teammate, we won. And then you also see footage of Larry's car when he won. He came down to the shutoff, and there's my whole Copenhagen crew peeking around on the track, like clapping and celebrating Larry as well. So that was a big deal to have Don Pernome's first double up because it didn't happen a lot back then. So that was huge. Yeah, amazing. So much to and thank you for going there with Roland and Don. It's tough. It's tough. Icons of the sport. Snake called me the other day, and he's like, "Hey, man, you're going to speak at Roland's deal." I'm like, "Okay, I guess I am." Yes, sir. And hopefully we get Mike Dunn and some other people that worked with him that had great stories. But I got so many great stories, and a lot of my close friends know the stories that I've told, but I can't tell a lot of them in public. So I've got to narrow this down because some of the greatest stories are stuff that I just can't share. So it's going to be fun. Can you share one right now? Not necessarily one that is inappropriate, but look, Joe Chrisman is out there. Joe Chrisman is out there. What's up, Joe? How are you? Joe is Joe on the team. That's great stuff. I'm going to save some stories. Yeah, I've got to narrow it down. It's going to be tough homework for me to try and narrow down all the Roland stories. It just makes me smile, which is why we're doing this. And he was a guy that made you smile no matter what. Yeah. And a celebration of life, I think an inappropriate story is acceptable. Mike Dunn will definitely give a couple. So I'm looking forward to sitting down and watching Mike Dunn get up there. Yeah. Just tough. And what's going to happen more. We get to this age where the icons are, it's just, life is a finite resource. We kind of know when things start to wrap up, and a lot of our early on pioneers are getting to that age, and it's just, it's really terrible, but let's celebrate them, many of them, while we still can. And this year we're going to do it. All right. So you people are asking about, what do you do in the winter break, right? The off racing season. Blake says, Ron, do you do anything special during the winter break? To me, you have been working. What was this indoor race in Atlantic City? You've been hustling for Napa every time I see you announce the big Mobil 1 deal. That's a big deal. I know that's huge to your team because oil is a consumable, right? You need oil. So let's talk about that. That was like the business deal. Ron Capps Inc.'s Mobil 1. Yeah, as a business owner, obviously we need those partners, and being with Napa Auto Parts, it's obviously a big deal. Everything we've done with Napa, if you look back at all the social media and all the things we've done throughout my career, especially being with Napa Auto Parts, it's unbelievable to walk into a Napa Auto Parts store and see all the partners and see what's great about it. I brag about it all the time is our NHRA fans and how loyal they are. They will go out of their way to make sure they purchase something in a grocery store or an auto parts store, or go to a place that takes care and is represented in support of NHRA. So that's always been awesome. I love that. We've been working on trying to get this done with Mobil 1. Toyota, obviously, having them on board has been a godsend. And we just signed an extension at the end of last year with Toyota. And so Mobil 1 has been very, very, very big with Napa, but also with Toyota. So that was huge. So it's tough to find a good oil for nitro cars. There is nothing you can put an oil under duress and test more than a nitro engine. It absolutely tries to break it down. So these oils that you see out in drag racing, not all of them are being used exactly the same without additives and other things that you don't hear about, because nitro just is crazy hard on it. So we knew that Mobil One had worked real well on getting a formula with Coletta and with Tony Stewart and the things that they've done. So we were excited to work with Cliff, who's one of their engineers, and finally got the deal put together. So anyway, long story short, great partner. It's going to be a lot of fun. They are very into all motorsports, and I think our fans are going to enjoy some of the stuff we do with them throughout the year. And then, just the usual stuff. The indoor race is something I've done almost every year for a decade or so. Napa kind of sponsors their East Coast people. And it's we've seen Tony Stewart do the Rumble race, for years. And obviously wintertime to see racing is great, period. But this race is such a big deal. The Gambler, they call it, some huge names, and it's got a lot of history. So I enjoy going back there. And it always reminds me our season's about to start when I'm back in Atlantic City at this race, because it's we get a lot of fans coming up to me saying, man, we can't wait for Gainesville and can't wait for this season. So yeah, another busy wintertime.
Yeah. Okay. So Gainesville coming up, Mission Foods Drag Racing. You mentioned the big money race. That's a huge deal as well, but we're gearing up big time. But there are some other things, like you've been very active on the social, and you put out like a sneak peek of the car, and we have got it. That's a good looker, Ron. Like, not that the other ones haven't been, but this is pretty nice.
No, and the fans appreciate, it's hard to do nowadays with sponsors and things to get a car to still look like it's an old school race car. You know what I mean? You look at some of these cars out there, no matter what division it is, and it's just got stuff plastered all over it, and it's got no flow to it. And I've always tried, before I became an owner, it's really always sort of bugged me. And you go back to Indy last year, and one thing I talked about, that was a dream weekend, obviously. But I've always talked about looking at NASCAR and looking at some of the throwback things people have done. There's never been a proper one in any motorsport. Torrance did the Big Daddy one, which was cool. That was pretty spot on. Once in a while, things have been pretty good, and that's why we worked so hard at that Hot Wheels car with Snake, and just the history and just all the stuff that came with it. And so Dave Merrick, who did that design as well, has always done my designs at Don Schumacher's, and he's incredible at what he does. But he's like me. We think alike, and he wants to make a car look fast sitting there. And when we come up the starting line, a fan is sitting at half track in the grandstands, and they don't have access to a big screen right in front of them. When a car comes up, it doesn't look like just a normal car. They know that's the Napa car coming up, and the car looks fast. And it was fun to take 50 of them down to 10, and then take those 10 down to a few, and have Guido and our team kind of get involved and help pick which one we wanted. And Napa also gave us access to be able to change it up during the season. Instead of one paint scheme, they're going to let us do a few of them. So we got some more surprises that we'll just break out as a Napa car, but it's going to be a little bit different. And so, and die-casts are coming. Finally, we got die-casts. So Toyota put a lot of money into helping us get that Toyota GR Supra body done in a die-cast. So I just approved this morning the paint schemes on that. And we're this close to getting the Hot Wheels car okayed to get a die-cast out there as well. So
wow. And Monica says she's loving the gear, the Snake stuff from the U.S. Nationals, and you guys put it out. I saw the sweatshirts and everybody, but come on.
And we are going to have some in Bradenton. I just found out again this morning that we're going to have some for sale at the Bradenton track of the Snake, tribute car stuff that we have online right now.
Excellent. Okay. So I want to do a hard left-hand turn because we got a couple other things. I just saw a tweet that you put out. Big breaking news. It's not NHRA, but we all love various forms of motor racing. And that, for Snake's a big F1 guy. I'm a big F1 guy, and this, Andretti has been trying to get into Formula One, and they were just officially denied for the 25-26 seasons. They've been invited to try again in 2028 when they've got an engine, but blah, blah, blah. And you use Twitter for what it's for, right? Negative reaction. Let's elaborate here, because I agree with you. I'll probably continue to watch. That's not what's going to drive me away, is that the same guy wins every race. But come on, Andretti, man. Let him in.
I just deleted off my bookmarks on my YouTube TV. I don't even want to. It's so frustrating to watch, as a fan. It's hard enough to watch F1. It's just so political anyway, but you still want to watch it because it's like the most incredible cars, and the racing can be good at times. But yeah, when I saw it this morning, I know Michael and how hard he's been working at it, and Mario's getting older and older. And I know that would be a dream for him to have that, for them to say no, especially with all the backing they've worked real hard at. It's just aggravating. I had to back up and delete that a few times. I was pretty mad when I first was getting ready to tweet it, and I thought, I got to be politically correct. So I made it short and sweet, but yeah, just frustrating to watch.
Yeah. Well, I don't know what to say. Like you said, it's very political, right? It's very political. There's politics. The people who have a slice of the pie don't want to share their pie with someone else. And they're like, well, we're going to grow the pie. The pie's going to grow. And they're like, yeah, we don't think we're going to grow the pie. I don't know, man. Another major manufacturer building power units, and Michael and Mario. Like, Mario Andretti is one of the most famous racing names on the planet. Like Mario Andretti, AJ Foyt, Don the Snake Prudhomme.
Yeah.
What else?
It's a lose-lose. Like, why wouldn't they?
Yeah. Well, they've re-invited them, 2028. But like you said, man, 2028 is 4 years down the road. That's a long time.
So dumb.
Yeah. Yeah. It's a bit of a bummer, man. Bit of a bummer. But, Cap's giving his takes. Cap's giving his hot takes on Formula One here. All right. 49ers. You going to the Super Bowl?
I don't know. We're flying back from the Superstar event on Sunday morning. I got my wife and my daughter going out for that event, and we have an early morning flight out of St. Pete. We'll see what happens. Right now I'm scheduled to fly to San Diego, but I could make a detour to Las Vegas. What a game. Oh my God. I think I finally took a breath this morning, but what an incredible game for our Niners to get back there to that Super Bowl and being in Vegas. You never know. I've worked the sideline in the past. We'll see what happens, but either way, we'll be tuned in.
But the city of Detroit, though, I don't expect you to root for, but to consider the sadness that they're experiencing because of what I deem to be just a totally self-inflicted defeat. Like, what are you doing?
Yeah, everybody's cheering for him. Brad Littlefield, our buddy Brad, been his team forever. The poor guy is, he's had to deal with that for a lot of years. And finally, it looked like he was going to get to go to a Super Bowl and watch his favorite team. I feel bad for all those Detroit fans a little bit.
Yeah, well, exactly. You're not giving it back, but bummer, guys.
Great story though, right? Great story.
Really? Well, yeah, they had a great season, but put points on the board, man. Come on, kick the field goal. Let's do it. You tie the game. The first one was a travesty, go up by 3 scores. But the second one, you tie the game.
Well, one thing, and I've people around me and my team, they know you don't celebrate before you see the win light come on, right? I love our guys because our car will haul ass and make a great run, and you don't see them go ballistic like it's the first time in the world we've done it. But you don't celebrate too soon. And we watched Eminem flipping fans off, and we watched, on social media, and we watched these, the guy Chauncey or whatever his name, the Detroit running back that gave Debo a lot of crap going into the game and called him out and celebrating and waving to the Niner fans before the half was over. It was like karma. You could see it was coming. But it's just. You don't start celebrating before you see the win light on, and it came back to bite a lot of those Detroit Lion fans, unfortunately.
That's a fact. You don't tempt I call them the racing gods, but you don't piss them off.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. And the football, I'm sure, has their own version of the racing gods. I guess they're called the football gods, but in racing. All right. So Derek wants to know if you're interested, if you're excited to beating up on Austin Prock, and I'll expand that to Daniel Wilkerson too. Like, and the point is, we've got some fresh faces and new blood in Funny Car this year. That's going to make it more challenging. You and Wilkerson are great and respectful buddies. You lose the opportunity to beat up on Tim Wilkerson. That's got to be, I don't know. Tim sounded like he was interested. He was happy about this. That his son Daniel gets to get in, and you got new faces you're going to be competing against. Yeah,
gosh, it's going to be tough. I mean, Prock, I've watched him grow up, as a lot of us have. It was fun to watch him in the midgets when he was doing that growing up, and I love having conversation with Jimmy Prock about his sons, and having Thomas come over on the car, and having him in there it's going to be a bummer, because I enjoy the crap out of racing Robert Hight. I mean, it's such a great team, good driver, good team. It just brings out the best in you, right? And a lot of respect. And so, when I heard the news about Robert, I texted him, and he says everything's gonna be all right and he'll be back. Then you put a kid like Austin in there, and he's going to be good at the tree. He's going to work hard, probably be great right out of the bat driving the car. He got his license crossover, I think, in the Funny Car.
Yep.
So yeah, he's going to be fine. In fact, he's going to be more than fine. And Daniel's going to be a lot of fun. Talked to Wilkerson on the phone a couple times here during the winter, and so he's pumped up. And I always said, if you got Timmy out of the seat and focused just on a car, oh my gosh, he does. I don't know how he does it. Guido and I talk all the time, and Guido, what's going on in his mind, and to me, what's going on in my mind. If you try to put those together, and just if the fans understood those two things and what you got to do to be a crew chief and a driver like Tim has done, and be successful like he's done, it's crazy. So Funny Car is gonna be fun. My God, I say fun, but you just don't know. So a lot of fresh blood. It's going to be a lot of excitement for the fans. It's going to be tough for us other racers, and yeah, I'm looking forward to it. It's a challenge. It brings us all up a little bit. Austin's a great kid. He's got a lot of respect for his peers, and he understands the whole history of the Funny Car as well, and he loves it. So it's going to be fun.
Yeah, I always felt Austin had more of a Funny Car personality anyway. So we'll see. This person out there was just announced out there on social that Pacific Raceways is going to have what they're calling a night session of qualifying. They're excited.
What? Where do you read that at?
It's Pacific Raceways as put out on their social media.
Wow.
Yeah. You don't know this? Come on. You drivers know everything before everybody knows it anyway. We know you're in on everything.
That is cool. Wow.
Yeah. They're going to have two sessions, and one they're calling a night session. But I don't really know what the lighting situation is there. Pacific Raceways. Like it's pretty good, right?
But they could certainly bring it in. Yeah. Yeah. That's cool. That's a track that one of my favorite all-time movies, and you can Google it or find it or go online, is Wheels of Fire. It's one of the best drag racing movies. If you fans out there haven't seen it, I think Bobby at one point had put it up on his site. It might be on YouTube. Wheels of Fire, and it's like almost a document that was put out years ago, and it follows Shirley and Snake and Richard Tharp and these whole runs for championships. But it's got a great section in it of back in the day. And listen, Roland, Ed McCulloch, all these heroes, Snake, all the guys I got to be around, old school, Tobler. I heard stories about Seattle back in the day. And when you went to run there with Donor being the promoter, the stories you hear about, you think cannot be true. Well, this Wheels of Fire has such a great section in it on back then. And I remember Ace told me the story several times that he remembers doing a burnout. And he said you could hardly see at this track. But he did a burnout, and he puts it in reverse and looks up, and there is about 30 fans around his car as he puts it in reverse, and they're pounding on the hood of his car when he's backing up from the burnout. This is on a Saturday night, Seattle. It's not even an NHRA race, some match race. So that kind of craziness used to happen. So that'd be fun to go back and run night there. Looking forward.
All right, so here's the press release, right? Because social media, you see a little headline, but you don't follow up. But I followed up. So here it is, the press release. It was announced yesterday. In Nitro at Night, Friday night prime time, coming to NHRA Northwest Nationals for the first time. Here's the comment. We're excited to bring our NHRA fans a Friday night qualifying show that starts in late afternoon and runs into the night. The night session will be epic, something our fans won't want to miss, says John Ramsey. We are working with engineers from Musco Lighting to bring in temporary lighting to give fans a Friday night qualifying show that hasn't ever been seen before in the Northwest. The 2 pro qualifying sessions on Friday will allow fans to come later in the afternoon, see the best qualifying show we can offer. This is something our fans have asked for, and we're pleased to provide this very cool opportunity for them. How about that, Ron?
That is awesome. We got tracks closing, right? Which is so terrible, every time you hear it. But to hear them step up, and we've heard the rumors over the years of that track disappearing and people coming in, I applaud them. That is so cool. They've done a great job on traffic. That place used to be hell to get out of, and they've done a great job of traffic in and out. So that'll help. But yeah, night runs there that'll be epic. That's one of the tracks that was built back in the day that faces west. And when we stage a car, that afternoon session, sometimes you can't even see the track, and we're making 3-second runs at 330 miles an hour and not being able to see very well. And we can't flip a visor down like you would in your car. So, man, that's going to be fun.
Super hot the past couple of years also. So that's going to be a little, a reprieve for the fans. Look at us. We're already excited about Pacific Raceways and the Western Swing. That's
breaking news. Look at that.
It came out late yesterday, but yes, we got caps on here. You got a lot of stuff. This person wants to know, what's the most requested piece of equipment off your funny car after a run?
Blower belts, obviously pistons and rods. Tires are probably the biggest, which is not like the old days where, tires got chucked a lot of times. So probably I'd say tires. More people ask about tires than anything else on the race car.
Yeah, that makes sense. And then they get them home and then they realize they got nothing to do with them and they throw them away. That's my, understanding of it. Or make a coffee table out of it. Mission Foods. How excited are you about this? In that fresh start. Camping World, they're still on board, did a great job. Middle of the pandemic, dived in to save the sport and take advantage of that void, if you will. But Mission Foods, with their Too Fast, Too Tasty challenge, they realized how much they loved the sport. They got in on it and they dived in big time with the sport for 2024 and beyond. So we don't even know the starting line, what's it going to look like. Is it going to be all red? Like it's a total fresh start for NHRA Drag Racing. What do you know, and what are you excited about?
I do know the sun's coming in and trying to blind me right now.
There you go.
But it's going to be fun. You can already tell. Listen, we have a trophy of the inaugural Mission Foods winner of that whole Too Fast, Too Tasty event, which brought so much excitement, into our Saturdays, the points that went into the countdown. That was, I applaud again NHRA's marketing, but Mission Foods for coming in and putting that whole thing together, because it certainly changed the landscape of our weekends of all the pro teams. So a lot of fun. And I've followed them when they were the flat track sponsor, and just slowly watched them get more and more involved in a lot of different motorsports. And so I think they're just hearing, we had a photo shoot. We did some stuff for them, hearing what they're going to do around races and with our fans and all the stuff that will help promote our sport, I think will be a great thing. So yeah, I'm looking at that side of it as a plus. And it's great. I'm so happy Camping World stayed on as well. And, the Too Fast, Too Tasty, excuse me. That was something that really you woke up on Saturdays like you hadn't in a long time. Like, it changed a lot of perception of the whole day. And it wasn't just, okay, we're going to try to improve our qualifying or get a race day set up. And you look at the crowds, it definitely spiced it up for our fans, because tickets were bought more on Saturday than we had seen in a long time. So yeah, I'm super pumped about Mission Foods.
Cool. All right. So next, this coming year, so you had won back-to-back championships. And then last year you were in the fight until, the very end, but you couldn't complete the 3 in a row. Okay. But as you guys have digested your season and looked back, and everybody's going to get better. That's the thing. We're in this golden era of funny car racing where we had the big 3 and then the big 4. And this year, maybe it'll be the big 5. People joining that top tier of teams. What have you guys done to improve, to raise your game, your postseason analysis from last year? I know you and Guido, I'm sure, went to work. What can you share?
We had one of our clutch guys left to go to Paul Lee's team, so we replaced him. Great kid. We got another kid that actually was put his time in hospitality. We get these resumes all the time, and I always tell people, put your face out there, like be around. And it was always fun at DSR because you had these people that want to be on a team, and in order to be on a team, sometimes it was like, hey, work in hospitality. And we've got 3 or 4 kids on our team that started in hospitality, believe it or not. So it shows their want to do it. So we got 2 new team members, and it's just business as usual. Toyota and Slugger and that whole gang has got our new Toyota Supra body that we have delivered, and we've got everything wrapped. And Guido, I've bragged about it time and time again. He's just great with managing and being prepared and things like that. So guys are just getting ready. I'm excited to get back in the car. It's been weird again as a team owner. It's just not the same as all these years I've been just a driver. So it's changed my approach a lot of different things going on. But other than the look of the car, we've got a few things we're changing mechanically. Guido's made a couple changes that I think we tried at Pomona at the end of the year. And I think the Superstar event, I'm going to do a whole couple pieces on what he did for the Flow Racing people, and get really deep into the mechanical side for some of our fans that like my dad, who just wants to see more mechanical stuff and what's going on and the gearheads at home. With that being said, Guido's always good about not veering too far from what we know is good. And I think he's going to try some things that a lot of teams are going to try to do in Bradenton. And then we have the whole week of testing in Gainesville. So a lot of different things, yet not a lot of different things. And that's what I love about Guido.
Interesting. Yeah, more racing before the start of the season, I think, than ever before. More laps would probably be the best way to say it. But very interesting. All right, Tony Stewart, what about that? You got to go run SRX. Thank goodness you got in there before they decided to stop with the SRX. I'm glad you got in there. I think you represented it well. We had a drag racer out there. You did a great job, led a bunch of laps. Now he is driving Top Fuel. And there was a lot of excitement around that announcement. Some people got a little irritated that we overhyped it. I disagree with them, but whatever, we can have that conversation. But now it's going to be go time. Tony Stewart is going to be driving a Top Fuel dragster. I know you're a fan of the whole situation. What do you think about what we're going to see?
He is focused. We watched what he did with the A Fuel car, and a couple years ago, he had gotten into the Top Fuel dragster, and I don't think he officially got his license. He could have, but he hopped into the car, and right away, the Top Fuel car was testing on Mondays. And, I can tell you, I won't name names, but the crew chief at the time that he was driving a car said he's never seen anybody that's been so good and focused and done everything so quickly and right, that quick, and adapted that quick to a Top Fuel dragster after not being in them. So there's a reason he's Tony Stewart, and he's we spent some time in pre-RI talking about, he's just pumped. He is so focused and excited. It's going to be fun to watch. I still think he's a funny car guy. When my speech at the banquet when we won the last championship, I called him out in the middle of the whole thing. And to me, he's a funny car guy. So he actually went and made laps. He took my seat out of my car, and my crew guys, we gave it to him, and he went and made some laps in Hagen's car. And a lot of fans don't know that. And he called me that night. I was traveling somewhere, and I got a call, and he said, "Man, I did it." And I was like, "Did what?" And he said, I finally made the laps in a funny car. And he says, "You guys are nuts." Yeah. So to hear Tony Stewart say that was cool. But yeah, I'm excited. I cannot wait to win. And I hope it happens. We've been lucky enough to have a great car and win every season. But to win and double up with Tony, knowing him for as long as I've known him and done other racing with him, it's going to be real cool to see. It's a tough sport. Top Fuel is tough, and he knows it. And I'm excited to watch his focus.
Yeah. Oh, well, that's what I'm excited about too. Like competitor Tony, we kind of have been experiencing nice guy Tony, right? Like, I'm happy to be here, Tony, past couple of years, and he's been hard-nosed competitor. He loves it, but this, it's a different level. Tony Stewart versus Steve Torrance, Tony Stewart versus Brittany Force, like all of those interesting matchups for the first time ever. Very, very exciting. Okay, couple people in the chat section, Ron, are asking this question. I would never ask you this, but like they want to know, like, are you is there fitness, Ron, going on? Have you gotten in more shape? Have you hit the gym? People are asking, like, Cap's looking slender.
I don't know. I haven't every year, there's new teams and there's new talent, and you just try to stay as a driver. I've always try to stay on top of it. My neck got pretty messed up early in the season, so I wasn't able to work out and as much as I did during the middle of the year. And we're all getting older, just trying to stay on top of my game. I want to be the best driver that Guido, and those guys and my team, and make them feel proud. So you don't want to slack off. But I wrestled early in my career, and I've always kind of stayed weight wise the same. So I appreciate the fans saying that. We'll see. The fire suit fit at the photo shoot, and they always make it the same size the year before. So it was a little bit tight, but the season's starting, and we'll get back into fighting shape here pretty quick.
Excellent. Yeah, no, it's coming up fast. Ron, great job as usual. I really appreciate you coming. This is like a yearly tradition. Ron caps at the start of the season. Is there's anything? Okay, so Dragster Jeff wants to know March meet stuff. Like, what are you doing? What's going on? And I know you, someone early on, Tony, was like, hey, don't forget, the funny car, the nostalgia funny car deal, Legends funny car. So what do you got on both of those fronts?
Yeah, they announced that they're going to be at a bunch of races, Bristol again, which is fun. I know Bill Windham and that whole group that came out there. So it's fun seeing those old cars at the track and some of our NHRA races. And yeah, March meet, it's one of my favorite events. And I've got a couple people that were on my social media from out of the country. They're going to fly over for it, they said, just because they saw that some of the posts I made. And I still say it's one of the coolest events there is, period. And if you're not on the West Coast, if you can make the trip, it's fantastic. It's a throwback weekend like none other. And I'm driving the Burkholder Brothers legendary fuel altered. Bill Windham actually bought it a few years ago, put it back together, and I drove it a couple years ago. We won that. That was a crazy car to drive and win. But yeah, so we're going to go up there, and they got a huge field of top fuel front engine slingshot dragsters and funny cars and the gassers and just the old school cars. It's such a great weekend. So yeah, that makes my whole year. I either go, and I haven't driven in a couple years, so it'll be the first time in a while, and pretty pumped about it.
Is there anything else that we need to know about prior to the start of NHRA Mission Foods Drag Racing, the Gator Nationals, all that is about to happen regarding you and your team and Napa to appropriately understand, the season?
Gosh, I don't know, Joe. You put me on the spot.
Well, you're coming on the show. You got to figure I'm going to ask you. Like, I like to just, my new thing is, Ron, is like at the end of the interview, I just give you the floor to say what you want, right? Talk to the fans out there, Ron. Get them fired up for the year.
Yeah, exciting stuff. The fans are going to see a little bit different things in the pit area with some of the teams. We're going to have these, and we're not sure the name, what they're going to call it, but there's going to be these sort of pods, or they call it this thing that we're going to sell merchandise, each team right there in our pit area, one shirt, one hat, and maybe one other thing that we can sell right at our pit area. That's going to be something special that we won't have in our merchandise trailers, which we're going to have a trailer this year with, I think, Antron and myself and Alexis are going to have our own trailer. So it's going to be a lot of fun to do that with Toyota. But this little thing is going to be at the pit areas are going to be very cool for fans, because it's going to be one-off things that you can only buy at that race that we can sell right at our either hospitality or the edge of our pit area. So I'm looking forward to that. Thank you, Legends and Nitro Mall and NHRA for allowing that to happen. So that'll be a lot of fun. I'm sure the fans in Gainesville will really dig that.
That's great. That's some news right there. Thank you, Ron. Breaking a little news. Like it's like a vending machine. You can go and just pull the lever and get the Caps special one-off event deal. I'm sure there'll be a person there, but that's a lot of people have said that they like, I went to NPK and people feel more connected by something that they buy from a working pit than they do from a mall. It's a weird psychological thing, but if you go to the mall and you buy a shirt with something on it, on caps, versus something that was handed to you out of a bin from the pit where there's Guido and there's nitro in the air, it's just a different kind of thing. And the idea that they're tapping into that, I love it.
Yeah, it's like a 6x10 or so. It's not huge, but the cool thing is, Antron and I were talking the other day. I mean, it's going to be right at our pit, so more. I guarantee the fans are gonna be able to buy something and have it signed right there. I mean, we try to go over to our trailers or go sign where people are buying things, but it's tough when the day gets going and you're having to drive and do all your things on your car. So this will be something cool that more times than not, the fans can actually buy it right there. It's something special that they bought right there. And us drivers can sign it, get a picture taken, whatever, right there at the pit area. So I think it's going to really change things a lot. So yeah, very cool with Evan and all the people in NHRA to help put this together. National Tours is making them for us, which is an awning company that makes our awning. And yeah, looking forward to it. Gainesville is going to be a whole fresh looking kind of thing in a pit area.
Cannot wait. All right, Caps. Be good. Have fun. Appreciate you coming on WFO. We'll see you in a couple of weeks as we get ready to start this deal, NHRA 2024 Mission Foods Drag Racing, and you go out there and try to win a 4th championship. Thank you very much for spending a little time. Good luck in the big money deal. I know that could, I don't know, it's not going to pay for the whole season, but it could pay for a huge chunk of it. Good luck in that as well.
Be fun. Looking forward to it. Thanks, Joe.
There you go. Ron Capps with us here on WFO Radio. Thank you very much, guys. Remember, subscribe, click the bell. Those of you watching on YouTube, never miss a show. This is what we do all season long. We talk to winning drag racers, and we go in depth. Yesterday, we had Angel on talking about her A-Fuel deal, running for a championship, going to be out there, no problem. We've had Daniel Wilkerson on the show this year. It's been very fun so far. So go back and hit subscribe, click the bell, whether you're listening on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, SoundCloud, wherever you get your podcast, and stick with us all season long. Rick Chavez says, great interview. Thank you. You know, Caps, the thing about Caps, right? He's always great. I love that pod idea. Bob Cole says it's like going to a concert from a specific date and getting a specific shirt. I love that idea. Always, since the pandemic, really, that shattered a lot of people out of their "this is how we always do it" attitude, and made them realize, and not just drag racing, but everyone, that, you know, time is short, life is short, try some things, throw some stuff at the wall. If it doesn't work, okay, no problem. We'll try something different. And certainly that's a motto of us here at WFO. And speaking of shirts, you know, the fire shirt, you can get it at the WFO store on our website, WFOradio.com. They go on sale very often. People are always asking me about the fire t-shirt. And if you join Patreon, patreon.com/WFO Radio, you can get our logo shirt if you sign up for a year. And we're like hovering right at 100 Patreons. We got to break through to get 100. All right, guys, your comments in the comments section. Like, what are you thinking about? What's on your mind? Tell me. We're going to address all of that seconds from now. Seconds from now, I want to hear what you, the fans of drag racing, have got to say, and the fans of Ron Capps as well. Yes, this paint scheme is pretty wild. Like right here, that look, this little corner, you can't see my mouse hovering, but between the Napa logo and the wheel where those points are all kind of coming together, I don't want to say it gives me vertigo, but there's definitely motion in there. You could definitely, it does look like it's moving, just sitting still. Just sitting still. I want to tell you about the people who make it possible for me to go WFO. You don't need to use them right now, but maybe you do. When you do, hit these people up, like Total Seal Piston Rings. Your engine builder, building you an engine. What kind of rings does he use? Total Seal has advanced the technology light years. TotalSeal.com. And we've got a great episode with Waddell Wilson in the podcast feed, Hidden Horsepower, presented by Total Seal. Definitely get in on that. And we got our PRI episodes coming out this Friday. FTI Performance Transmissions and Torque Converters. FTI Transmission and Torque Converter Leader, plus FTIparts.com. Definitely, if you're competing in Top Sportsman, Top Dragster, Pro Modified, big power, they can hold the power and also make you consistent. Consistent enough to win big money bracket races. .90 Racing. FTI is all over the place, but you can open up a Jegs or Summit, Jegs in particular, and get FTI torque converters for your street car. If you're looking for a torque converter to go out there and just perform a little bit better with your muscle car on the street, FTIperformance.com. The folks at Foggit, oh my goodness, I'm learning so much. This past week, we went over to the Hike Motorsports Museum, and we got to see all of these incredible cars, Gap and Roush, Petty, just really a cool experience. But what were we doing there? What we were doing, we were fogging these engines. We were protecting the inside of these engines. And Brett was like, what good is having a car if the engine seizes up, locks up? If you're going to winterize your car, if you're going to put it down for a couple of months, you need to fog it down. You need to fog the engine so that it's ready to refire. And there really hasn't been a purpose-built product for this until now. Gary Stinnett and the team over at Foggit have put it together. It's on Summit Racing Equipment. It's on Amazon.com. And of course, it's on Foggit.com. Get yourself a can, and you'll find it's all over the machine shops that I happen to go into because it's utilized in many other applications, and especially firearms. Bernie's Speed Shop, BURNYZZ.com. Bernie's. This is Josh Hart. This is their base camp up there in Ocala, Florida, getting ready for the Gator Nationals Fan Fest. Here's the deal. So you should just move to Florida like I am. I live here in Florida. I live in southeastern Florida, so I'm about 4 hours south of Bernie's. But this is where the action is, folks, because we don't have snow. It's as though people are wondering why people move to Florida. And ultimately, the answer is the weather. We have the most amazing weather, except in September, which is not good. August, September, it's not good. That's why the snowbirds go back. But Bernie's, 100,000 square feet, can have the big fan fest. If you're coming to the Gator Nationals, and I know you are, plan to arrive, to fly into Orlando, because Gainesville's airport is microscopic, right? It's getting bigger and bigger, but it's pretty much microscopic. So everyone's got to, if you're going to fly in, you fly into Orlando on Wednesday. You get in mid-afternoon, drive north. It's like a little less than an hour from Orlando to Ocala. Go to Josh Hart's. Go to the Fan Fest. And then drive north to Gainesville. And you can check out the Garland's Hall of Fame, and you can check out the Gator Nationals. That's I've just planned your trip. And it all is surrounding Bernie's. CWT Industries, if it rotates, it can be balanced. Think of all the turbochargers and superchargers and everything out there. The crankshaft, obviously, the rotating assembly of every one of these high-performance racing engines. CWT Industries has got some amazing balance machines, nearly fully automated. You got to make selections on the screen, but it saves so much time. It saves so much time compared to its predecessors. And if you'd like a personalized introduction to the folks at CWT, just email me, Joe at WFOradio.com. We'll put you guys together. And then there's the folks at Phillips Connect, smart trailer technology, connected sensors while you're over the road, your fleet of trucks. And, whether it be tire pressure, that's the most basic stuff. But brake pressure, lights, making sure they're all work, load, weight. My truck was loaded and now it's not. What's up with that? Gives you that peace of mind with your transportation industry vehicles out there. So email me, Joe at WFOradio.com, and we'll put you together with folks at Phillips Connect. And then there's the people at Frank Hawley's Drag Racing School. They got this program called the Dragster Adventure, where you can drive a dragster. Your Cap's talking about racing. You want to know what it's like? They make it easy, right? It's like a day course. You go out there for a day. They come to you, tracks all around the country. The Dragster Adventure at FrankHawley.com. Then there's my buddy, Marvin Rodak, rodakscoffeeandgrills.com, 817-924-6821. This is the best coffee on the planet. No joke. The best coffee on the planet. Rodak's gets the most premier bags of coffee. It's not like vacuum packed garbage from the grocery store. And, it costs a little more. That's no doubt. But it's so much better, and it's a better experience. Call Marvin, 817-924-6821. And then there's our great friends at samtech.edu, the next generation of machinists coming up through samtech.edu. All right, I've stalled for you guys long enough. Let's see what you've got to say. Oh, I missed this one. Monica said that Guido put together a slot car track. I'm finding that a lot of drag racers also love slot car racing. Bracket racing and slot car racing. Bob Cole, this is the best time of year anticipation, and the Gators are coming soon. So true. So true. Getting geared up. I love the idea that the Gator Nationals are first. The Gator Nationals are always a blowout event. The East Coast, the weather, it's always packed, sell out 9 out of 10 times. And now that the track has been resurfaced a couple of years ago, the potential for official world records. Going to be cool. Chuck says, change can be good. Change is almost, unless you're talking about a website or a program that you've learned to use and then they change it as soon as you learn to use it, then change is always good. Other than the websites, because they always seem to make those worse. I don't know why. Ant Dog says, great show. Let's see. Fantastic interview. Always love hearing from Ron. Yeah, me too. Caps is a great driver, great personality, ambassador for the sport, transcends drag racing. He's known throughout the world. His thoughts on the Andretti situation in Formula One. We talked about it a little bit on Ignition, but I was holding out hope that they would put Andretti in there. But it's not over yet, but it'll be 2028. And Formula One basically said that Andretti's going to get more from F1 than F1's going to get from Andretti. And yeah, maybe that is slightly true initially. But the idea of having General Motors in Formula One with a Cadillac brand, like that would have been pretty cool. But GM fans, and there are fans that follow manufacturers. That's what Formula One is all about. Red Bull, Ferrari, like there are people that follow their manufacturer. If you're a driver and you drive for Ferrari and you're not getting it done, the fans want you out. They don't like you. They want you out because you're not doing a great job. Now, that's not been the case for the past few years for Ferrari. They're the ones who've been blowing it, but different story, different time. If you're interested in that stuff, we have crying towel sessions on the Ignition podcast, audio only for Patreons as well. Let's see. Like you said in some previous shows, I'm genuinely more excited for this upcoming season than I've personally been in a while. Good infusion of young talent in the sport that it needs. Yes. You've got to have young, fresh faces. You've got to have new people that come into the sport and they take it and they put their face on it and they carry it and they make it their own. You got to have it. They, as an NHRA, I believe it was NHRA, put out a great cluster of Daniel Wilkerson interviews in one of their feeds that I think is one of the best bits I've ever seen. And it harkens to the OG John Force stuff. OG as in original gangsta. The OG John Force stuff that made John Force, talking about seeing Elvis at 1,000 foot. The stuff that made all of us go, what did he say? Daniel Wilkerson has that. And these were starting line interviews. And I'm proud to say, like, I don't know, 90% of the ones in the video were me, like putting the mic in his face. And I'm not saying I'm the reason, but I got to experience it firsthand. Like I was the guy like, what did he say? Love the kid. Love him. And when he gets out of a funny car and he's got that nitro, I remember the first time I did a top end interview. I don't know exactly who it was. I think it was Terry McMillan though. And he was like, there's a guy, he's a pro. Miss you, Terry, by the way. It's not too late. But like twitching, like what just happened to you? Oh, I just accelerated 0 to 300 miles an hour in less than 4 seconds and then stopped. And it has an effect on you. Daniel Wilkerson. We're very excited. Joe, you need a pod. Yeah, I need all kinds of pods. Lauren, our WFO swag is available at Hot Rod Randy's. We've got our podcast shirt with, a version of Project Pontiac on the back and me with the microphone. It's a great shirt. Hot Rod Randy Land has done such great things for us on WFO, but our regular shirts like this fire shirt, you can get it online. And I post those links in our feeds, and you can go to the website, and they make them for you, and they ship them out like one at a time. So we don't have to do a whole bunch of inventory. They make them one at a time. You wanted one shirt, and just wait till they go on sale, guys. The real answer is I'm not trying. This is why I'm a bad business person, right? I'm not trying to make money selling shirts. I'm trying to put shirts on back so you guys are people. What is that you're wearing? It's a podcast that I listen to on YouTube, an Apple podcast that Ron Capps is on, and you'll love drag racing the more you get to know these people. That's the point of it. So buy a shirt. Be sure to always support the sponsors. Yeah, get a can of Fog-It. Good luck to Ron, of course. Great show as always. Big fan of Caps, but now I've got to throw 18 holes. Wow, look at this guy. He's out there. He's going to hit the links. Definitely. Marvin Rodax is amazing. Looking forward to seeing you at Bernie's again. Thank you, Lauren. I am too. I'm excited about I told the story last year. Fan Fest at Bernie's. I was skeptical. Like, I'm not afraid to admit when I'm skeptical and incorrect. It's 50 minutes south of Gainesville. Are fans going to show up at Bernie's? That's all. I didn't say anything negative. I just was wondering. It was one of the biggest fan fests we've ever had. There were hundreds of car show cars, and they just opened it up the other day for car show cars to reserve. We're like over a month out. They're getting people to reserve. They had live music. They had the drivers. They had everything. It was incredible. It's right in the same town as Garland, so you can go over there and go to the Museum of Drag Racing. You can spend the day at the Museum of Drag Racing, then head over to Bernie's, and, maybe you never know, man. WFO Joe might be doing something in Ocala that day as well. Not Bland. It's crazy how fast you're stressing me out, Dugenais. The Not Bland show, it's approaching. 2024 is going to be crazy. It is going to be crazy. But let's set the scene. We are coming in, historically speaking, where are we all? Where is this? What's happening? 2017, 2018, 2019. You might not remember very much from any of those seasons, but I can tell you that they were all great. And we had wonderful, positive momentum in the sport of drag racing. Drag racing is a solid and strong sport that is on the ascent, period. In spite of what some people try to tell you, there will always be someone trying to pitch you the negative. That's not what we're talking about. But then the pandemic happened, and everybody was like, oh my gosh, pandemic. Drag racing not only survived, we were one of the first sports back with fans, and we made it through. 21, 22, 23, in my opinion, have been the best years the sport has had, competitively wise, storyline wise, interest wise, fan wise. We've had sold out crowds, and every year they've done something new and better. And now we have Mission Foods. So, it was 2022. I said on the show over and over again, just to generate attention, best year in the history of drag racing, the greatest single season in the history of drag racing. And I believe that it was. But then 23, Caps with the snake car going out and winning the U.S. Nationals, all these amazing storylines. Doug Coletta wins the championship over Leah in a winner-take-all final round. Amazing storylines, top to bottom, every class. There's no need for any negativity because it's genuinely mostly positive. But, some people will have to inject some sort of negativity into every situation. Of course. Dan says he got in late. Caps talk about the March meet. Well, yes, of course. He talked about the March meet, guys. Caps we hit him with everything. I didn't really know about the Detroit guys taunting the fans. I did see the M&M stuff. I'll be checking out Hot Rod Randy. Yeah, Randy Lynn. Hot Rod Randy's. That's where our official WFO podcast shirt is. The one that everybody wants. But the Fire shirt and WFO store. And then there's the Patreon crew shirt. We've got a VIP membership club called patreon.com/WFO Radio. You can get there all through the website, WFOradio.com, the home base. And it is almost time for a new website, by the way. Almost time for a new website. You just got to find the right person to do a website. Someone that I trust. Someone that understands what we're trying to do here at WFO. It's a joy to see the growth after COVID. It feels like the old days with a flair. Yeah. Billy Torrance running for a full season. Billy, Angel, and A-Fuel, Tony Stewart versus Billy Torrance battling for a championship. You can almost get, you don't want to give any oxygen to the negative folks. You don't want to give any oxygen to people who are just trying to be negative because they're just trying to be negative to gain attention. So you battle with them. Interaction. Big thanks to Ron Capps for coming on the show. Big thanks to everyone who has supported this program over the years. Project Pontiac. This is one, you can follow the hashtag. We are working on getting this car back on track. Still quite a bit away, but I will be in Orlando, Speed World Dragway, for the Division 2 race in a couple of weeks. I will be out there seating, getting things ready for Project Pontiac as we return. All right, guys, that's going to do it for this week at WFO. The archives are loaded. The Ignition podcast. Have you checked out Ignition? Pretty good stuff. Thanks to Ron for being on the show, and we'll see you next time on WFO Radio. Thanks, guys.
Like this show? Want more? Then head to WatchPTTV.com, the new 100% free PowerTube TV streaming network. Home of the best classic and new motorsports racing and build shows on the web.